Hello, I am a real catfish, and today I will be touring a modern city that I built many years ago. Um, as with so many of my builds in other maps, this is obviously not complete. Um, a big thing I tried to do with this was to have it be a railway to a new part of the map. So it goes all the way along. You can see a highway over there. Um, you know what? I feel that if I had in the past done the roads all like this map might still be going on. But unfortunately, I was just a bit meh with road building, and that was not. Past Catfish did a bad thing there. He should have tried to build his roads. Who would have thought being lazy wouldn't work out in the end? Up here is a sky rail. So a big thing with this map is it's modern, but it's a tiny bit futuristic as well. So obviously this is not done and it doesn't lead anywhere. But here is the map as a general whole. We're going to start over here. So this is a giant skeleton dragon thing. I think this is my second attempt because the first time I did that was Halloween map. And God, I love that Halloween map. I love Halloween. It's one of those holidays I really enjoy. Halloween's always been just a really fun one. And then up here is, shockingly enough, if you recall with the Star Wars builds, so with the previous map tour, the Star Wars map, all of these TIE fighters, see, you can see I've used lanterns here, and also that giant engine design. But this map I built way back when I didn't build all of it. A lot of this map came a lot longer ago. But this specific build obviously came out around when Star Wars Battlefront 2 was coming out. And that was what, 2017, 2016? And yeah, because everyone was excited because we were all told, oh yeah guys, don't worry, it's going to be an Imperial story. You're going to get to see the Empire side. And it was yet another Rebels show. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate and I really do love a bit of Star Wars Rebels and stuff like that, but I really do want to just see the bad guys' perspective sometimes, you know? Sometimes it'd be cool to see the Empire just being the Empire, you know? And so, I mean, this ship is bad. As I say, a lot of my Star Wars ships aren't great. It's only more recently that I've gotten quite good, and you'll see a couple of my other builds that prove that I'm not full of it. So, this building, this white and black building, this was the second ever skyscraper I ever built in Minecraft. So, creative mode came out, and I, first of all, built, you know what, I'm going to quickly go over there, just because I want to prove a point of what I originally built. So, I'm going to show you, because what I did with this map was I tried to use it as a bit of an everything here map. So I tried to get it so that everything that was here was here. So every single thing I've ever built, I tried to put on this map. So let's just keep going. So the first ever quote-unquote skyscraper I ever built in Minecraft was this. I transferred it across because the old map it was built on got corrupted and disappeared. But I built this just before that happened. And this is the first ever quote-unquote skyscraper I ever built. And I remember showing it to a YouTuber and going, what do you think of my skyscraper? And he just kind of went, eh. That was the noise he made. He was none too keen on it, and with an adult eye, I can kind of see why. However, I can also see the potential for the future for it. And, you know, it's stuff like this build here that rise from stuff like that. You know, at the minute, if you are looking at your builds and you're going, oh, geez, oh, gosh, this is all I can build. This is, with enough practice, what you can get to. This originally was a library. And so, once again, if those videos, I've been talking about it loads, but if those videos get allowed for me to use, I'll show them. There's the possibility of what I might do is possibly get them both and download them, and then because I don't know if they've been active or not. The guys, I've messaged them, they've not spoken back to me for a long time. So I might possibly just be quiet and just take the videos and just edit them and put music on them and just have them as silent tours of the map rather than them be spoken because quite a lot of them also have quite cringy conversations. One of them, he's agreed to let me have it, but that's for a different map, an old airport style map. But yeah, so I went from that first building I just showed you to this black building here, this black and white one. I used a reference image. If you just type in modern skyscraper on Google, this is a picture of the real version of this, probably one of the first things that come up. And I'm pretty sure loads of people have built this. None of them have built it the same as I have, in the same way I've not built it in the same way they have. But yeah, I think this is one of those buildings I will do a tutorial for because it's really, really easy. Like, it's one of those builds that you can just do. You know, all you need is clay, obsidian. Ah, wow. You know what? I can't believe I used to use obsidian. Wow. And snow. Yeah, snow's a big, big thing here. And yeah, that glass texture looks so much better. And then my second ever proper build was this, the Freedom Tower. So a bit of a trivia for you. When I first built this, I originally put the ice straight next to the glowstone, and that's how much of a noob I was back in the day. And so, obviously, all the ice melted, and so I basically kept putting it at one block until eventually the ice stopped melting, and that just so happened to be 5 blocks. But yeah, this is old, and once again, another build I could do a tutorial for because it's really simple. You know, it's the kind of build that just looks nice. You know, it's one that just fits into a world. It looks pretty, and yeah, you can just get it in there. You know, it's not one of those builds you need to worry about, and it's also one of those builds that's nice and tall. You can make it as big or as small as you want. You know, at the minute, I think that's probably 21 by 21, if I recall correctly. I'm not going to count it, but let's maybe 30. But obviously the nice thing about these kind of builds is you can make them as big as you want or as small as you want, and it's just great. So at some point on the channel, expect a tutorial for this build and for that build. And you know what, expect a lot of tutorials. I want to have a lot of videos. I have, obviously, you know, I enjoy what I do. This here, for example, I love this building. Originally, when I first built this on my other map, I made these bits here, and I was like, okay, so I'm making like the Twin Tower type thing. But then I got to the front and I started building these iron bits, and I was like, wow, oh my god, that looks great. And so I stuck with it, and as you can see, it does not look bad at all, and I'm very pleased with how that came out. Next here, I'm going to call this the Christian Skyscraper. The reason being is it just looks kind of holy and stuff. Originally, the design idea was this was meant to be a futuristic skyscraper, so this middle bit was meant to be a kind of pathway where ships could go through, so spaceships. And above it, I even have proof that that was originally an idea. Now, if you've watched my previous map tour build, you will recognise this ship, kind of. That is because this is a stripped down, unmilitarized version of that ship. So the idea was that this was meant to be the civilian accessible version. You know, there's no gigantic turrets. There's the 2 underneath, but they're not so big as well. They're only 3 long, whereas I recall the last one being 5 wide as well. So you've got these nice little tutorial turret things, and even down to things like, as I say, just the main big difference is just the gigantic wings with guns. You know, it's not quite so brimming with weapons. Big thing I tried to do with this city was, if you look down upon it, it's a lot of grass. It's a lot of greenery. It's meant to be a lot of just pleasant, you know. It's if I come down to this building here, it's got a nice garden. You know, you can go up, have a sniff, that kind of thing. Definitely haven't got hay fever or anything like that from the game. But the idea was you could walk about. Here's one of those classic vent things here, just hidden behind some grass. But the idea was to have it so that you could walk about, you're above the clouds a bit, and you can just enjoy the view. And yeah, it was something I enjoyed. Down here, here's a fun one. I built a snail. It didn't used to have the hat. I think someone else built that. But I built a snail back in the day. That was fun. It was one of those little things I built, and it was cute. You know, it was one of those things I looked at and I was like, oh, that's cute. Here, so this is one of the big things I love about the new version of Minecraft, which I'm on now. And it's the fact that I could fill all of this in about 20 seconds. because obviously I've got the slash fill command, which I didn't used to have, and so a whole bunch of my skyscrapers never got finished because I could never be asked to do the slash fill command. And at this point, I'm almost certain that absolutely nobody on Earth does not use the slash fill command anymore. If you don't, fair enough, you're a braver woman than I, but I can't live without it. It makes building these gigantic, difficult projects so much easier. This is another build. I love this build. I just have to say that as skyscrapers go, this is up there. It's a simple design by all means, but once again, sometimes simple's best, and in this case, simple has meant it just looks pretty. I think with this map, I made this a tiny bit too tall, and I put way too many trees up there. What I should have done is had it be slightly shorter, so maybe up to no higher than here. So this be the tallest, have it too shorter, and then have it so that the top still had this thing here that it has going on, but not have the trees. Maybe have one or two, but just thinking about real life, that's just not really going to work. Here's another building, another unfinished building, oh god. This was meant to be a good one, but I rebuilt it on another map. Actually, no, I did. I rebuilt it over there, but better, but we'll get there. This was meant to be a recreation of my old yin and yang buildings from my old map. So the idea was that they kind of swerve in and out, but obviously, as you can see, that hasn't happened. But what the plan originally was to have these connected here by a sky bridge, which was quite cool. This here is another example of a build which was massive, and I loved it, but I just didn't have the steam to do it. I didn't have a reason to finish these builds, a lot of them. There was never any kind of, because as I say, I wanted to do YouTube type things for a very long time, and so, but I've not had the actual ability to do it because I've not had these slash fill commands and the correct all sorts of things like that. But this build here, you can see the general shape, you can get the general idea. Obviously, it would have gone across all the way, and yeah, that just so much potential, so much. This is just a meh building. I never really liked it. I just got it in there just cause. And the same with this purple building. It's unique, but unique doesn't always mean good. That building up there, once again, if I'd had the slash fill glass sky, ice command, I would have finished this in already. You can see getting around is such a ball ache with this version of Minecraft. They really need to make it so you can sprint upwards. But this roof design is a fantastic roof design. I love it, and I need to once again use it in other builds. This one here on the left, I built this for the first time in a friend's map, and once again, no glass, for goodness sake. Past catfish is done bad. This one's quite nice. It's a bit artistic. Here is an Eclipse Towers from GTA. I could possibly do this as a tutorial in the future because it's a simple design, and also everyone loves GTA. Here is, so I used to play a mobile game, a mobile city building game, and so this area here was based upon that. So this building here was one you could build. This one here was unique. Unique's the right word, I think. I haven't finished there. This obviously is an apartment block type thing, and this one here. Now this one I actually did enjoy because it has just that nice glass in the middle. It has the it's just a nice shape, and in the future, a lot of these I hope do get finished. I hope I finish them because I'm a big fan of a lot of them. This is a cool build. It was meant to just be, I think, similar to a GTA style building, because there's a building, I think it's made of brick, but it's got the 3 skyscraper type things on it, and it was just a cool little thing. But then this one here, I have finished on other maps, so I'm very pleased with that, but it's a very tall icy block building. Once again, very easy for a tutorial, because technically all you need to do is just slash fill command, and you can have the entire thing done quickly. And if I ever do a tutorial like that, where I do just use a slash fill command, I will show you every step of the way of what I'm doing, and how to do it so that if you want to build it in your own world, you can. And obviously, if you don't want to use the /fill command, you don't have to. You know, if you want to go through block by block and place it, fair enough, you're more than welcome to. But it just makes sense to do it. So for example, I'll say, oh yeah, go up this many blocks, and then I'll say, here's the /fill command, and then I'll show you how to do it that way, rather than any other ways. This was meant to be another unique building. It's got glass on the top, and it was meant to be glass all the way around with the black inside, but once again, a lot of these buildings would have been done if it hadn't been for the glass. And oh, look at this! If you watched the last video, you will recall this building here. This was one of the twin skyscrapers in the little formation up in that city that I said was way too tall. I'm pretty sure it's way too tall still now, but you know what? There it is. And yeah, so I think when it comes to skyscrapers in the city, that is us done. But that's not us done with the city. So, over here, takes a long time to get there, because this version of Minecraft, obviously. You see, you know what? This is another thing I hate about this version. I can't see all of my spaceship. I built this, and on the old version of Minecraft, you could see all of it, but you can't see all of it on this version without going like this and having a really ugly angle. I want to have different angles I can see this spaceship at. But this is based upon the CIS Invisible Hand. It's nice, and it was based upon the old Battlefront 2 game because you can fly straight through it. So the idea was that you could go from one side to the other. Once again, it's nice, and I'm a big fan, but I don't think it's quite as up to par as some of the newer builds I've got. Yeah, so here are some more interesting builds. This is a... So I tried to build a semi-detached modern style house with a garage. So once again, it's on water. This was because the map was all on water. But the idea with this was meant to be have your garage, you've got your interior, and it's just a nice house, but semi-detached rather than it being fully detached. And the same with this one. This is a bit more of a European style house. So it's got the bedrock, it's got the sand, the quartz, and it was meant to be quite a nice kind of sunny build. And once again, this one, surprisingly, I thought I built this for two. So what I originally thought I did was I had this be a door and this be a door, and then this be a middle window type thing. But apparently not. Apparently I left it as just a single condo, which is quite interesting. My little sister, she built this here. So this is... you can tell it was built by a young person because she likes her fish. How many different species is it that Minecraft's claim they've got? Damn, that's a lot of different species of fish in there. But yeah, this is a cute little thing. I won't get rid of it, and I won't get rid of the animals just because, it's nice to look back and reminisce kind of thing. I'll show it to her when she's an old woman and be like, you remember this? This was a cool build. I like this. I have no idea what inspired it because it looks like I was inspired by something. But, I mean, I love it. It looks great. I really don't know where this is from. I feel this is from somewhere. Like, every other build I can say, oh yeah, I either took a reference image from Google or something like that. But this, I feel that it was from something. If you know it, go ahead and put it in the comments. If not, whatever. As I say, this was meant to be a library. This was meant to be a whole terrace house idea. So the idea was that it would be continuous all the way along the road kind of thing. Like with a lot of the houses in the UK are built like this. So very connected, very close, very, very small. However, I also thought I'd make it a bit more modern, have the garage, have it be, 2 stories. Have it so that when you walk by it, it's still tall enough that you notice its height, but it's not so tall as to be intimidating. Like, obviously, if you're in the main city over there, which you can't see, which is really annoying, you're quite intimidated and you're more likely to fly about, whereas at this level, you're more likely to fly about at this level just so you get a bit of a nicer scale. Because I think it's very easy with big builds to forget the scale of them. With my new projects, like I've got the Mount Olympus, I've got the Palace, I've got a whole bunch of skyscrapers and things like that. You just forget how big they are and how much effort went into them. But then if you look at a build like this, so this, in my head, the inspiration for it was meant to be a converted farmhouse, but it was also meant to be ultra futuristic, modern, blah blah blah. And I ended up making this a hotel, I believe. Yeah. So you've got your Donkey Kong picture in the back, you've got the hand touching the pie or something, you've got a nice little restaurant type thing with the food here, and then obviously you go up the stairs and then you get to your room. But I'm not going to go in there because it is a bit of a maze. It's an amazing build, but no, the actual area itself is... no, I'm not doing that. As with a lot of things, as you can see, obviously on the floor, if it had been finished, this would all be grass. And to be quite frank, to keep with the theme, I probably would have ended up actually filling in a bit of farmland type thing, just to make it pretend that it was once a farmyard type build. And then over here, I don't know what I based this on, but I know that I based it upon an image of a mansion. So here is just one of the ideas. So you've got the whole roof, you've got the different shapes, you've got the different sizes, you've got the garages over there. I think this looks better, this view here. Once again, if you just pretend it's no water underneath, you get a nice kind of view of like, that's a nice suburban mansion. Very American style mansion, I think. You know, it's got the sand. I can't believe I used sand. I am a brave builder sometimes. This here, another example of a really brave build. It's an ultra modern house type thing again. And once again, this is the type of house that could be done into tutorial. Just because it looks difficult and the actual style looks quite sleek and quite hard. But when you build it, you realise it's really not that bad at all. Big things I probably wouldn't end up doing is actually doing an interior as well, just to give you an idea for what would be inside. But like just all these different little building techniques just to make it look as though it's got more shape and more design than it actually does. You know, having those snow blocks come up and over. In fact, it's not even snow. At this point, I was using concrete. Nice. Let's go this way quickly. I want to go this way, just because I know there is stuff behind us. So, this here is another quote-unquote mansion type thing. This was me being a bit silly, so I thought I'd put a kind of dock here so you can land your spaceship and go inside it. The actual build itself is just meh. It's not terrible by any means. Like, I wouldn't look at it and go, ugh, that's ugly. But it's not the kind of build. If I was still working on this map, that would be destroyed by now. That would have been gone. But once again, a big thing I've learned, because I have a whole bunch of the original save files. So what I do is, to make sure that I don't lose too much if a save file corrupts, is I save a save extra of it. And in some of the old maps, it's crazy to think about some of the builds that were there that aren't there anymore. Here was my first attempt at an A-frame house. It's quite nice. It's got a pretty little door. I like that door. It's a nice door. And then this was my second attempt at a house. Personally, and I think the opinion of a lot of people, is this A-frame house is nicer. But I think if this A-frame house didn't have that colour of wood as the outside, this one would probably be nicer. Because it's got that nice bit on the roof there. It just is a bit of a nicer build. But because of the coloration, no one likes that build. Everyone likes this one just because it looks a bit more homey and a bit more like, oh yeah, I could live there. And you know what? I don't blame them. Yeah. So recently the Mandalorian has come and gone. I love the ending of that show where it's got Boba Fett. That was quite cool with the... I think it's like the Book of Boba Fett or something like that is called, the new series. This here was my first attempt at an Arc 170 Starfighter. So you've got the windows there, you've got the astromech, you've got windows, back windows, gun, and magma, which is the first time I think I ever used that for a block. But as you can see, it's bad. And also, I would say it's too small, whilst also being too big at the same time. So it's too big in the nose, for example, but too small in other areas. So, if you've been good and you're a subscriber and you've been watching this and you've gotten to this point, you will recognise these as being the Red Imperial TIE Fighters. And as you can see, way back when, they didn't have, as I said in the video, they didn't have those nice red red things, red trapdoors. So they didn't exist. So that was that. Although one thing I will say, which I should actually be doing, is I didn't add buttons. So if you're watching this now, and you obviously have already previously watched the TIE Fighter Interceptor thing, and you've built one, put buttons on it, just on the wings, just because it adds more guns, and so on. Here is that Venator from the other map, and a flying ATDP. So the idea with that was meant to be that it was meant to have, you remember the Gozanti class cruiser from the last video? Well, it was meant to have that above it, and it was meant to have 2 ATDPs above it. So the idea would have been that it would have basically been flying in. Here is that beautiful ship from before, one of my absolute favourites, as I say. Pretty sure it's been edited. I'm pretty sure I edited it slightly, because I don't remember this being so thick. But that's not a bad thing. It means it looks a bit more realistic with actually having the thickness. And finally, for this map, one of those really big things, my Venator. So this was my second ever attempt at creating a Venator. And you know what? It's not bad. I love the bridge area. I love how that looks. It's got a nice shape overall. The only thing I could say which could have improved it would be just making it slightly wider. So having it be just a few blocks wider on each one, so it's just that tiny bit wider. Because that back area is fine. This top area is a bit meh, but overall, it's not a bad ship. And one of those things that I said about, obviously it's very similar cockpit bridge area to the other one, but one of the big things I love is I made it so that you can get inside of it. So you can go in all the way to the bottom. As you can see, I've already broken in before, or broken out, one of the two. And yeah. So this has been my tour of one of my old modern / futuristic cities in Minecraft. I hope you have enjoyed. The Star Wars map will be uploaded before this one was. I'm hopeful that I'll be able to get those other videos, because what I'd like to do is have them in order of when I built them. So have my first map built first and shown off first, then have my second map, then have my third map, and then continue there. But yeah, so in the future, if you've watched this video, you will probably recognise a whole bunch of these buildings from tutorials. In which case, brilliant, it means I've carried on, which is exactly what I'm hoping to do. And if not, it means I've given up and everything's gone wrong. I know which one I would prefer to happen, but there's the possibility of either. So I hope you have enjoyed the video. As fair warning, I think expect one of these two buildings as my first ever Skyscraper tutorials, just because they're easy to build and they look good. On that note, I hope you've enjoyed, and thank you for watching, and goodbye.